Have you ever walked out of a job interview and realized you weren't truly understood? Or even worse, you nailed your technical answers, but then the interviewer just did not get you. Okay, so today I'll break down 5 proven ways to make sure that your interviewers always gets your message and essentially how to build trust every step of the way. Right? So point number 1, structure for clarity. Okay, so structured answers are clear answers. Okay, so the STAR format, situation, task, action, and result is your best friend. Okay, so for example, in my last job, I worked as a supervisor on a production line. This would be the situation. I was assigned to fix the delivery problem which was slowing us down. It was the challenge, or the task if you want. So I set up daily stand-ups, which was the action I took, and delivery improved by 30%. This would be the result. Okay, so just a few more pro tips here. Don't overwhelm with too many numbers or stories, and don't speak for too long or too short, especially for entry-level roles. Stay away from trying to reinvent the tried and tested formats. Don't reinvent the STAR with some wild new acronyms. I even have the DAN format if you want. Okay, point number 2, slow down and listen. Right, so most candidates will speed up when they're nervous. Okay, so here's a secret: clear, confident speech is memorable. Okay, so try this trick. Take a deep breath before answering. It not only calms your nerves, but you'll also sound as more composed. Okay, and you should eventually look to build trust, not just by talking, but by also listening. Okay, simply pause, maybe let the interviewer finish and reflect for a second before responding, because what happens here, you want to give your best answers from the first try always. You don't want to give them your second or your third best story while answering these interview questions, right? Point number 3 here would be to emphasize some key points and repeat yourself in a strategic way. Okay, so this applies to more senior types of roles. Okay, or maybe even for some highly technical types of roles where the idea you want to communicate can be quite complex. Okay, so the idea would be here to say your main point and then repeat it in a different way before wrapping up, for example, in the results section. So for example, customer feedback was my focus, so I set up weekly reports. Okay, this would be the introductory statement, and then the key takeaway in the wrap would be listening to users led to a 20% boost in retention. Okay, listening to users, so repeating the key idea you want to transmit. Okay, so this will help keeping your message more memorable and of course reduce the risk of misunderstandings. Okay, point number 4 would be to show as more empathetic in order to minimize the risk of coming off as arrogant. Okay, so the idea behind this is that some of you fear that you might come across as too direct, too blunt, too arrogant for various reasons. It could be simple as cultural differences. So the simple fix here would be to actively demonstrate empathy. Okay, so you could even go along the lines of trying phrases like, I understand how challenging that can be, or I appreciate your perspective. Okay, if you tend to be too direct, or if you want even more another type of trick, you can also write down empathy and keep it on a note nearby while interviewing. Okay, so it's not just your skills, but how you connect to your interviewer. That also matters. Okay, and yes, again, this can be quite cultural at times. Okay, and finally, point number 5. Top candidates always listen for what's actually being asked. Okay, so my point is that you should always read between the lines of the questions or follow-up or challenge questions you're getting asked, because most of the time there will be a hidden reason for this. Okay, so if the interviewer, for example, asks you for a challenge you've overcome, you should think something on the lines, well, would they be testing for resilience, leadership, or maybe humility? Okay, and you should then tailor your answer specifically as to why the question got asked. Okay, so for example, it sounds like you're looking for someone who doesn't give up easily, right? So here's how I handle a setback, and then you would move on with your story. You would even be upfront with them. Hey, yes, I understand what you're actually looking for, so I'm going to give you exactly that. You know, again, minimizes the risk of miscommunication, of being misunderstood in job interviews, and furthermore emphasizes your ability to bring in clarity and to give them what they're actually looking for. And this trick can alone set you apart from most candidates. Right? So just to wrap things up here, structure your answers for clarity, slow down and listen, repeat key points, show real empathy, and read between the lines of the questions you're asked. So I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.